Next week, Brazos County commissioners are going to consider terminating the contract with the engineering firm studying the Inner East Loop project. We first told you about this Wednesday. The item will be put on the agenda at the request of Precinct 2 Commissioner Chuck Konderla, who we are now pleased to be joined by Mr. Konderla. Thank you so much for coming down and seeing us.
You bet, Alex.
This project goes back years, as far back as 2017. Taxpayers passed a bond on it in 2022 to look at and build a loop in the eastern part of Brazos County. So my first question, specifically for you, how do you square wanting to end a project that was approved by voters?
That's a great question. So, and one correction, the taxpayers on that bond voted to study the project, and to the study would include determining a route, but there was not construction in that project. Okay. There was no vote for construction in that project. And the answer to that is you've got to go through the process. So the voters voted before I took office to approve Proposition A, which included an Inner East Loop. But as the commissioner for Precinct 2, something I heard very loud and clear from a lot of people in the precinct, well, in and out of the precinct, were that a lot of voters did not understand that a study for a future loop that would designate that roadway was part of that bond. And so, you know, if you hear that from a few people, you might think, well, that's an anomaly, some folks missed it. But I was hearing it from almost everyone. And so you look back, maybe should the Commissioners Court at that time maybe done more public outreach, more public workshops, maybe at 6 p.m. at the Brazos Center to explain to the public what this entails. And it's easy to sit here now and look back and say that should have been, but perhaps in the future, if a large project like this were going to be introduced, that would be something they would follow. To your other point, though, the study has been, as the taxpayers or as the voters voted it in, the study has been going on for a year. And the study included a no-build option. Well, when you look at a study that is going to designate a road through the county, it's not going to be built for some time. You've got to weigh in a lot of factors. One of the factors is the no-build option. Is it really needed? And we're seeing conflicting reports about how many people will live in Brazos County in 2045, 2050, and how many cars would actually utilize that loop if it were built. And so for those reasons, you have to say, okay, then we probably need to stop and use our existing infrastructure, explore how we can improve and make our existing infrastructure maybe widened, improved, upgraded to do the same thing. And I think that's where I'm at. And I'm going to make the motion on Tuesday to cancel the contract for the Inner East Loop study, which will then therefore make that project go away. Because I think we have other opportunities that are less impactful to the property owners out there to do the same thing.
Dwayne Peters has spoken in favor of this project. He stepped away for health reasons. You guys appointed Kyle Cassell as acting county judge. Do you think this is going against what Judge Peters would want?
Well, just Dwayne Peters appointed Kyle Cassell as acting county judge. And I spoke with Dwayne more about this than probably anything else that we talked about before he went away for medical reasons. And I think right now he's probably pretty pleased with, he was looking at the same data, hearing the same things we were hearing. And I think, I hate to speak for him, I'm not speaking for him, but I know he believes in listening to the constituent and believes in exploring what it is that you're looking at. He's done that as well as the rest of the current commissioners and judge. And I think he's probably, you know, I would guess that he would probably understand and maybe even be supportive.
You mentioned that there was a lot of people who voiced their concerns to you. We know that there was a very vocal opposition to the Inner East Loop. How much of an influence have they had?
Well, certainly that's part of the influence. At every commissioner's meeting for the last 8+ months, they've had a presence speaking against the loop and given reasons as to why they did not like the loop and wanted to support us getting away from it. You've got to listen to those people. They're not just the ones at the meeting, though. In my opinion, also very impactful for me were private, very considerate one-on-one conversations with people out there, with landowners out there. And I could call names and maybe embarrass people, but there's some people that had wonderful input and we're sharing it in a very, very respectful, just private conversation. And you walk away from those conversations going, that's definitely input I've got to add to the process that I'm going through as a commissioner sitting during this historical potential change in East County. And ultimately those conversations and reading emails and reading letters people wrote and listening to those that spoke at the commissioners meeting were all very helpful for me to get where I am.
I don't have hard numbers, but I think it's safe to say, obviously, the population of Brazos County is growing, and Highway 6 continues to see more and more traffic on it each and every day. So if you and your colleagues on Commissioner's Court do vote to terminate this contract on Tuesday, what's next? How do we handle the traffic increase we're seeing?
Well, Highway 6 expansion will be great. Now, we've got to all live through that the next few years, but TxDOT has plans for expanding Highway 6, and they're already beginning that project. So I think that'll be very, very helpful. They have plans to expand 1179 in width and quality of road. There's some impact there that I think citizens will still have to shape that final design. But there's also in the TRIP bond that the county voters passed in November of 22, several road projects that will develop east-west corridor improvement and efficiency, county road upgrades and improvement as well. A huge project at the George Bush Welborn, the interchange there, is going to happen because the county was able to take some TRIP bond money and leverage more money from TxDOT to work on that project. So I think working on existing roadways and being creative in a way that you can make traffic flow safely and efficiently is probably going to be the answer that everyone looks at over the next decade. And man, I can't wait till Highway 6 is done.
Yeah. Precinct 2 Commissioner Chuck Konderla, thank you so much for your time today. Really.
Can I add one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Quiddity is the firm that was hired to do the East Loop study. They've performed very well, and they were great communicators, very professional group. So in canceling the project, we're canceling the project because we're canceling, I am voting to cancel the project in hopes of canceling the East Loop, and I believe the other commissioners will follow my lead on that. But Quiddity has performed very well, and in this conversation, I think that's important to understand and recognize.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate your time.
You bet, Alex. Thank you.